Sometimes, the smallest stories carry the biggest lessons. Let's discover one together.
For 7 mornings, a mysterious white deer appeared outside Father Gabriel's lonely cabin. It never made a sound. It never asked for food. It simply stood there watching before quietly disappearing into the forest. But on the 8th morning, everything changed. The deer returned with fresh blood on its white fur. Without asking a single question, Father Gabriel followed it. Before the sun went down that day, one life would be saved and another heart would be changed forever. Every morning, Father Gabriel welcomed the sunrise with prayer in the peaceful pine forest where he lived alone. One quiet morning, as he opened his cabin door, he froze. A young white deer stood only a few feet away. It didn't run. It simply looked into his eyes with calm, gentle curiosity. After a few silent moments, the deer turned and disappeared into the trees. The same thing happened the next morning. Then the next. For 7 straight days, the mysterious deer returned at sunrise, stood silently outside the cabin, and vanished without leaving a clue. When Father Gabriel told the villagers, they laughed. "It's just a wild animal," they said. But Father Gabriel only smiled. Nothing in God's creation happens without a reason. On the 8th morning, the deer came back once again, but this time something was terribly wrong. Its white fur was stained with fresh blood, its breathing was fast, its eyes were filled with urgency. The moment Father Gabriel stepped outside, the deer turned and began walking deep into the forest. Without hesitation, he followed. The path became longer, the trees grew thicker, the forest fell completely silent. Nearly an hour later, the deer stopped beneath a giant oak tree. There, lying unconscious on the ground, was an injured hunter. A heavy tree branch had crushed his leg. Blood covered the forest floor around him. Father Gabriel rushed to help. With all his strength, he lifted the branch, wrapped the wound with part of his robe, and gave the man water. Slowly the hunter opened his eyes. Then he saw the white deer. His face turned pale, his hands began to tremble. "I know those eyes," he whispered. Months earlier, he had entered the same forest, searching for a hunting trophy. Hidden behind the bushes, he saw a mother deer standing protectively in front of her frightened little fawn. She could have escaped. Instead, she chose to stand between her baby and the hunter's rifle. He pulled the trigger. The mother deer fell. The tiny white fawn disappeared into the forest. Tears filled the hunter's eyes. The little fawn, "It's the same deer. I destroyed its family, and today it brought someone to save my life." The hunter buried his face in his hands. "I don't deserve this." Father Gabriel gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "No one earns mercy. That is why mercy has the power to change a heart." The hunter looked into the deer's peaceful eyes. There was no hatred, no fear, no desire for revenge, only quiet forgiveness. At that very moment, something inside him changed forever. From that day on, the hunter sold every weapon he owned. He never hunted another animal again. Instead, he dedicated his life to rescuing injured wildlife, planting thousands of trees, and protecting the forest he had once filled with fear. Years passed. Father Gabriel grew old and peacefully left this world. Yet every spring, on the morning of his birthday, the villagers noticed something they could never explain. A single white deer quietly stood outside the old wooden cabin. It remained there until the first rays of sunlight touched the roof. Then, without making a sound, it disappeared into the forest once again. No one ever knew whether it was the same deer, but everyone who witnessed the moment walked away believing one simple truth: kindness is never forgotten, not even by the wildlife lesson of the story. True strength is not found in revenge, it is found in mercy. One act of kindness can heal a lifetime of regret, transform a broken heart, and leave a legacy that even nature remembers.